NBA player Chris Herren here at Chatham High School for Chris's presentation called Rebound the Chris Herren Story. Chris, what's another point that you want to get through to these students besides the obvious point to not be drugs?
To ask them why they do it. You know, we can sit down and talk to kids about how bad drugs are and ultimately the ending that most drugs will bring you to, but the focus should be on why they're doing it. And the emphasis should be on the beginning of addiction rather than the ending. If I walked in here today and asked every student to draw a picture of a drug addict, 99% of the students in this auditorium today would draw me a picture of a drug addict in the last year of their life. That's who kids think of drug addicts. They think of the last year. They don't think of the whole process what brought them there. And that's what this is about.
What was the turning point in your life when you realized you absolutely had to stop using drugs?
You know, I overdosed 4 times on heroin. I had a beautiful family, amazing kids, a lot to be thankful and grateful for, and a lot to live for. Ultimately, you know, you have to believe deep down inside that you are worth living a better life. And I had to challenge myself in many areas to overcome certain things, as well as believe in myself that I can. And you know, sobriety and recovery is not easy. You know, it takes a lot of work, and I understood what work was. I became a professional basketball player because I worked really hard at it. So I just had to kind of pivot and focus that type of passion and energy towards recovery rather than addiction.
Who was a real big role model in your life?
I think anybody who gets sober, anyone who's been sober before me, who showed me the way, who took time out of their day to walk into AA and sit in rooms and help people like me when I first walked through those doors, were true role models. Because there's a lot of people who make mistakes in life, and the goal is to forget them and not relive them and not apply them in a positive way. So people who are out there who found recovery and have been blessed with sobriety, the ones who stay in it and continue to give back because of it are people who I truly admire.
All right, last question for you. What was the highlight of your basketball career?
You know, my basketball career went in stages. I wasn't a kid who grew up saying I was going to be a professional basketball player. It was so far-fetched that I never saw it happen. You know, my goal was to be a starting point guard for my varsity team as a freshman. And I accomplished that goal. And it's not an easy goal to accomplish. You know, we have 3,800 students in our high school. It was a very rich basketball tradition. And that's what I wanted. So, you know, the early stages of my basketball career were probably the most memorable. Scoring 2,000 points, starting as a freshman. That's what meant the most to me.
All right, Chris, thank you.
You're welcome, Boston.